Yeah, good. All right. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyampi dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyampi saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Yampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Pānātipātā vēramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Adinādāna vēramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Kāmesu micchācārā vēramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Musāvādā vēramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Suramēraya majjapamā daṭṭhāna vēramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. We will do some meditation now for about 8 to 10 minutes. Please gather your thoughts and maintain silence, both verbally and bodily. Inviting a calming presence, being nourished with wholesome thoughts. And cultivating positive energy within you. Mindfully you breathe in, mindfully you breathe out. As you inhale and exhale, you become aware of tightness, tension of some places of your body. Gently touching those areas with gentleness and compassion. You let that compassionate thought to grow within you. not being so rigid and controlling with your willpower. You let things dissolve, let things go, and let things be. Quietly, you sense the peacefulness within you and around you. You inhale and exhale, relaxing the parts of your body, such as the top of your head, your forehead, the back of your head. Inhale, exhale, relaxing your facial expressions. All the muscles relax just like you are smiling, giving that smile generously out to the world. Relaxing your neck, shoulders, arms and hands, your chest, your back, your waist, your legs, the knees, shin bones, the soles of your feet, your toes, inviting positive energy ground up. Although you may not feel it, you have the intention to invite positivity to your being. You simply inhale and exhale, aware that these movements are happening within you. Completely letting go of your past and the future. You are simply aware of the breath that is happening now. not your past breath, not the future breath, simply being aware of the light that enters through just being aware of your in-breath and out-breath. You are just this one being experiencing oneness with the rest of the universe. You are the only person who can make the connection with the universe a better one, based on what you think, what you do, and the way you make an impact to the world. That way you make good karma affecting positively to people around you. Your energy becomes vibrant, positive, and healing to others. Things slow down, inhaling and exhaling mindfully. When you stop going after external disturbances, internally nothing disturbs you, and inner peace begins to arise. You will be bathing in that inner seclusion and peace that comes with a sense of joy, calmness, and stillness. You don't control it, you let it arise and let it be. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So today, for the first time, we are doing our discussion from an excerpt from the Vinaya Piṭaka. We did pieces from Majjhima Nikaya, the middle length discourses of the Buddha, and we did from somewhat from Abhidhamma, profound teachings and other places, but this is the first time we are taking something from the code of discipline of monks. But in it you find some inspiring stories, and that are common to other traditions as well. People who grow up here in the West have exposure to other faith traditions. Unlike us living in Sri Lanka, for the most part, if our village is Buddhist, everyone in that village is Buddhist, and we don't know anything that other faith traditions do. It's very alien to us. No friends in the school from other faith traditions. Everyone in the school does Buddhist things, and that's all we know. So if you are if you are lucky, you may go to a town school where you may find some kids from other traditions like Christian or Hindu traditions. But Buddhists and Hindus are very much mixed. You find Hindu beliefs in Buddhism in Sri Lanka, and not the other way around, but mostly Hindu beliefs among Buddhists. And you may also find Islamic friends, but it's good to have friends from other traditions. That's what something my professor told me. You can study other faith traditions, but until you make a friend from that faith tradition, you haven't studied it. So before you criticize some other faith tradition, you think about your friend. Because your friendship is so strong, you don't say anything about what they practice. But that's not what we are going to talk about today. But you will find some coherence between what we study today and with Christianity and other faith traditions as well. In this piece, we find this from the Code of Discipline. There is a big book called Mahāvagga, the Great chapter. In that, there are 10 small chapters, not really small, they are also big, and there is a section on robes for monks. But this story does not connect very much with robes, but in it you find this incident where the Buddha is attending to a sick monk. And I should tell you the background of this from Christianity. The Buddha, having attended this sick monk, who was apparently abandoned by other monks because that monk never helped any other monks before. So he himself says, I haven't helped any other monks. Maybe he became a monk later in his life, that he didn't have much time to help any monk, but he suffered from dysentery, and he was abandoned. So the Buddha was visiting the monastery, and he found about this monk, and with the help of the Buddha's attendant monk, his name is Ananda, they together bathed him and cleaned him and summoned all the monks, and Buddha said, Yo mang upaṭṭheyyya, so gilānaṃ upaṭṭheyya. That is the Pali way of saying it, which means one who attends to me attends to the sick. One who attends to me attends to the sick. This is a very powerful saying. Means if you are practicing my teachings, you are also taking care of the sick ones. In Matthew 25:36, you find a very similar statement made by Jesus. he says, you came to see me when I was in the prison, you came to see me when I was sick. And the righteous will ask, when did we visit you when you were in prison? When did we see you when you were sick? As if that didn't happen. But then Jesus says, when you went to take care of the least brothers of mine, least means the least cared people of mine, you did that for me. Means I am there with the sick people, I am there with the prisoners, and when you are visiting them, you are visiting me. That's a beautiful thing to say. And the other statement is, thou shalt love thy neighbor. Did I say it right? Right? Something rhymes with those words. Thou shalt love thy neighbor. The Buddha that's Jesus saying, the Buddha saying, don't hate anyone. What's the Pali of that? I'm trying to recall. But the meaning of that is that if it hurts to you, don't hurt the other person the same way. If it is something that hurts you, don't hurt the other person the same way. Because their pain is also your pain. So, but these statements have inspired people from these traditions, Buddhist tradition and Christian tradition, to look after the needy. They think about these and they are inspired to look after the needy. So it's something we should learn about, something we should value. In this teaching you find also the qualities that a caregiver should have. If you are a doctor, if you are a nurse, you should have these qualities. But if you are a sick person, that person also needs to have certain qualities, and you find them here. Okay, we will read. I invite you all to read with me. Mahāvaggapāli, Vinaya Piṭaka, the monk with dysentery. The story in Pali is called gilānaṃ, or else called Kucchivikāra-vatthu. Kucchi means stomach, Vikara means something upset in the stomach. So in other words, having dysentery. Now at that time, a certain monk was sick with dysentery. He lay fouled in his own urine and excrement. Then the Blessed One, on an inspection tour of the lodgings with Venerable Ananda as his attendant, went to that monk's dwelling, and on arrival saw the monk lying fouled in his own urine and excrement. On seeing him, he went to the monk and said, "What is your sickness, monk?" "I have dysentery, O Blessed One." "But do you have an attendant?" "No, O Blessed One." "Then why don't the monks attend to you?" "I don't do anything for the monks, Lord, which is why they don't attend to me." Then the Blessed One addressed Venerable Ananda, "Go fetch some water, Ananda. We will wash this monk." "As you say, Bhante," Venerable Ananda replied. And he fetched some water. The Blessed One sprinkled water on the monk, and Venerable Ananda washed him off. Then with the Blessed One taking the monk by the head, and Venerable Ananda taking him by the feet, they lifted him up and placed him on a bed. Then the Blessed One, from this cause, because of this event, had the monks assembled and asked them, "Is there a sick monk in that dwelling over there?" "Yes, O Blessed One, there is." "And what is his sickness?" "He has dysentery, O Blessed One." "But does he have an attendant?" "No, O Blessed One." "Then why don't the monks attend to him?" "He doesn't do anything for the monks, Lord, which is why they don't attend to him." "Monks, you have no mother, you have no father who might tend to you. If you don't tend to one another, who then will tend to you? Whoever would tend to me should tend to the sick." That's the statement of the Buddha. Yo mang upaṭṭheyyya, so gilānaṃ upaṭṭheyya. Whoever would tend to me should tend to the sick. If you are practicing my teachings, if you want to look after me, basically not his body, but if you want to practice what I teach, you need to take care of the sick ones. So then he sets forth some kind of a structure within the monastic order, because any monk can have a preceptor, one who gives him invites him to the order, puts robes on him, and that monk who is the preceptor, who gives precepts to this monk, that this is your code of discipline, and he has the highest responsibility to look after this monk. And likewise there is another similar format, like if he is not present, then there is another monk who is responsible for looking after a monk. So the Buddha is reminding them of that order. Let's read that part also. If one's preceptor is present, the preceptor should tend to him as long as life lasts, and should stay until his recovery. If his teacher is present, the teacher should tend to him as long as life lasts, and should stay until his recovery. If his student is present, the student should tend to him as long as life lasts, and should stay until his recovery. If his apprentice is present, the apprentice should tend to him as long as life lasts, and should stay until his recovery. If a fellow student of the same preceptor is present, the fellow student should tend to him as long as life lasts, and should stay until his recovery. If a fellow apprentice of his teacher is present, the fellow apprentice of his teacher should tend to him as long as life lasts, and should stay until his recovery. If no preceptor, teacher, student, fellow student of his preceptor, or fellow apprentice of his teacher is present, the Sangha should tend to him. If it does not, all the monks in that community incur an offense of wrongdoing. So that's something that could happen. Means those monks have done something wrong. Now they have to go in front of an assembly of pure monks and confess that they did that mistake and follow the punishment given to them. Sometimes they will be told, okay, you from now until 3 months is complete, look after that monk and you will be cleansed. So that's how monks will do punish them in that way. Or they will say, be mindful about your wrongdoing and make sure you don't do that again, and consider you as cleansed now or at the end of those 3 months. It's about your conscience. Your mind knows if you did it right or wrong, and that's what matters. Your conscience is like a soft pillow on which you sleep. Okay, let's read more. This is about a sick person. A sick person endowed with 5 qualities is hard to tend to. He does what is not amenable to his cure. He does not know the proper amount in things amenable to his cure. He does not take his medicine. He does not tell his symptoms, as they actually are present, to the nurse desiring his welfare, saying that they are worse when they are worse, improving when they are improving, or remaining the same when they are remaining the same. And he is not the type who can endure bodily feelings that are painful, fierce, sharp, wrecking, repellent, disagreeable, life-threatening. A sick person endowed with these 5 qualities is hard to tend to. But a sick person endowed with 5 qualities is easy to tend to. He does what is amenable to his cure. He knows the proper amount in things amenable to his cure. He takes his medicine. He tells his symptoms as they actually are present, to improving when they are to the nurse desiring his welfare, saying that they are worse when they are worse, improving when they are improving, or remaining the same when they are remaining the same. And he is the type who can endure bodily feelings that are painful, fierce, sharp, wrecking, repellent, disagreeable, life-threatening. A sick person endowed with these 5 qualities is easy to tend to. A nurse endowed with these 5 qualities is not fit to tend to the sick. If you are a doctor, same thing. He or she is not competent at mixing medicine. He does not know what is amenable or unamenable to the patient's cure, bringing to the patient things that are unamenable and taking away things that are amenable. He is motivated by material gain, not by thoughts of goodwill. He gets disgusted at cleaning up excrement, urine, saliva, or vomit, and he is not competent at instructing, urging, rousing, and encouraging the sick person at the proper occasions with a talk on Dhamma. A nurse endowed with these 5 qualities is not fit to tend to the sick. A nurse endowed with these 5 qualities is fit to tend to the sick. He is competent at mixing medicine. He knows what is amenable, unamenable to the patient's cure, taking away things that are unamenable and bringing things that are amenable. He is motivated by thoughts of goodwill, not by material gain. He does not get disgusted at cleaning up excrement, urine, saliva, or vomit, and he is competent at instructing, urging, rousing, and encouraging the sick person at the proper occasions with a talk on Dhamma. A nurse endowed with these 5 qualities is fit to tend to the sick. So usually in Vinaya, you don't find the conclusion, like that's what the Blessed One said, monks rejoiced in and so and so. You don't find that part. That's okay. So what do you think about this? Did you like the reading? Yeah, so it's a beautiful thing, because some of you do really directly work with patients, and you see sometimes that patients, well, you have to take precautions, like you shouldn't be touching stuff, bodily fluid and stuff. You have to have gloves or put on, gown on, mask on, and those instructions you must follow. But with also with the awareness that sense of touch is important. Sometimes some patients feel abandoned in the hospital only because their family, the one that they wish to see, is living far away. They are not able to visit that patient, or they are dead. I met a patient recently. She said, I don't know why I have been given so many years to live. My only son died. My sister died. I wish to meet them in heaven. I don't have any problem, but I don't want to depend on my daughter-in-law. So she has those questions. So she says, I'm asking him why I have been given so many years to live. And will you go and say, okay, you die now, your time is up? We don't say things like that. Just bear witness to that pain. You hold their hands. You kneel down in front of them, because it's healing to you and it's healing to them. Then you see the tears coming out of there, because that's what they wanted, somebody to listen to them. That's where healing happens. That's what Jesus would do. That's what the Buddha would do. So that's where beauty is. That's why you have been given that opportunity to reach out to them and to feel them, their aging bodies, helplessness. They can't help with those things. That's what they feel. When feelings come, they can't help. It's not like sexual feelings. That's not what they are looking for. They are just looking for a connection with the rest of the world. Doctors, they can be busy, they have to do their routine, they do rounds. Nurses also do the rounds. And case managers and all these people, they do their job. But someone needs to, that's why chaplains sometimes, that's the part we do. They are called the doctors for the mind. Someone who is, really, truly not rushing but being with them. Not to change their faith tradition or anything, but just to bear witness, to empower them in their place. We are not there to convert them to, we are not there for that. Beauty is in your connection, in the opportunity to serve them. So that's why if you have the time, please do go and volunteer in these places. They have volunteer programs in Beaumont Hospital where I go now, and I do have the opportunity to really look after them. Because of the training as a chaplain, it's much easier for me. So it's a beautiful thing. So any time in your life, if you have the opportunity to volunteer, especially with sick people, you will learn so much wisdom that you cannot learn from books. Okay? So, any thoughts? Your chance to speak. You may have heard these things before, right?
I'm particularly glad to see teaching on the Vinaya and Abhidhamma included in the sutta studies. Often
Thank you.
there's no opportunity
Mm-hmm.
for that, so it's very wonderful.
Yeah, we continued doing these discussions since more than a year now. Right? Dawn has been coming, and many of you have been coming from the beginning, Vimal also. All these people love it, and even if one person comes, we will do it. And we have had moments we thought, like, should we stop this? Bhante Sankich and I have those thoughts, but Bhante Sankich is not someone who would stop these things. Even if one person comes, he will continue to do these things. So I think I'm inspired by that motivation. So Vimal Mahatma knows, we do other programs here too, and sometimes we rarely cancel our programs. So that way we get the opportunity to discuss things that inspire our minds. So this one particularly I read in Pali with the Pali group. I was not here this past weekend. I was in St. Louis teaching Pali, and this is what I taught in Pali. So they loved it. So I wanted to share the same with you. So it's easy when I have done the Pali part, so it comes naturally to me. That's a monastery where I go. It's a Chinese monastery called Mid-America Buddhist Association in about 1 hour drive from St. Louis. So they buy a plane ticket and they invite me there. So about 30 students taking that class, mostly retired elders. So they love learning. So they want to be teachers. So they think learning Pali is important. So if they wish to learn, we go there and teach. I go there once a month, not every weekend, so just once a month until December. So then the semester ends, but they will do this program for 2 years. I mean, they have more courses, like different semesters to fulfill until they finish either the diploma or the degree, depending on what they are willing to complete. Anyway, that's a different story. So I should also mention in Christianity you find another, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That's what I would like to highlight. The other one is Mark 12:31, that says, "Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself." It's the exact same thing has been spoken by the Buddha in with different set of words. So they all look at the world with those lenses. Even if you are a murderer, prisoner, they are forgiven in front of such people. noble people. So Matthew 25:36-40, I will read it for you. I was sick and you looked after me. I was in prison and you visited me. Then the righteous will ask, when did we see you sick or in prison and visit you? He will reply, he here means Jesus, truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers of mine, you did it for me. Beautiful. Anyway, any thoughts?
I think that even the code of conduct or code of ethics, these things are included even nowadays. No?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like patient care.
Yes, in patient care, I think one of the first few things they teach is about these things, and they teach more things now about protecting privacy, don't take pictures, don't post them in social media, don't face media people when something happens,
Not exploiting the patient.
not exploiting the patient. If they are exploiting, you respectfully tell them, okay, let me come back another time when you are ready, things like that. So patients are in different mindsets, but
When you those things are went that far back. I mean,
yes,
those came from the Buddha's time. So the Buddha's
yeah, they have, you see how many years these things have been teaching people. More than 2500 years. That's also with other traditions. So, but there were, even the Buddha had a doctor, and when the Buddha got sick, there is a piece about inspiring someone in Dhamma. Maybe we should stop there a little bit, but something you should never tell to someone is, when they are sick, is you should never say, this is your karma. That's like a slap. Who are you to know about their karma? You are not a Buddha, you are not any enlightened being. Even if you are enlightened, you would never say such things. But one thing, inspiring them in Dhamma, that's not converting someone, but sometimes I tell patients, like, this pain is not yours. That's something you can tell. They fight with the pain, and they can handle that. So then to them it's like heavy burden has been lifted from them. Until then they think, okay, I am punished for things I have done. And they try to make a connection. But in true understanding of Buddhism, the Buddha says, you may have done so many things wrong in your life, but when you correct yourself, you are just like a shining moon, and you can do it anytime. That's why the man who killed 1,000 people to retrieve the small fingers was forgiven in front of the Buddha. Angulimala, finger garlanded man. We did that discussion here. If he was forgiven, that's a reference point for many Buddhists. Your daughter, your son may be injured, even killed by someone, and there are mothers who publicly forgive the murderer. Very difficult thing to do, but they do it. Takes time, but they do it. That's because you may have, anybody can do wrong things in life, but you don't have to be attached to your wrong doings. To be defined by them, no need. You were in certain conditions and you did those, and you no longer have to be that same person being defined by such things. So you can tell these things to people depending on their situation. There's beauty in that. So inspiring with, if it is a Buddhist person, if you are visiting a Buddhist person, if they are willing to listen to more deeper wisdom, in which case you know that person mutually so well, and that's an opportunity for them to speak about especially about 7 factors of awakening, arousing mindfulness in them, which means when unwholesome states arise, they don't let those things cultivate. They have yoniso manasikara, which means wise attention. You have wise attention, which is very, very important. So that pain, excruciating pain, does not convert to be anger in them, not thrown at your doctor or the nurse or the visitor. There is pain. Sometimes you visit patients and half of you only see bones on that side. The cancers are slowly killing them. But that's the physicality. That's not you in that body. We need to remind that to them. This is not you. This body is something you abandon later. But your spirit, your whatever you call it, can remain unaffected by this illness. You can take yourself in a beautiful journey, starting from mindfulness, arousing energy. Energy is also, striving for positivity, striving for wholesomeness. Virya is a factor of awakening. Joy is a factor of awakening. Samadhi, your stillness, mental calmness, is a factor of awakening. And investigating Dhamma is a factor of awakening, which means investigating this nature within you. Internally, what is affected, externally, what is affected, how do you let go of the external factor, how do you let go of the internal factor and stay without contact. These are powerful things to do, but you can do them. When I say without contact, which means pain arises, but you have gone deeper into a samadhi stillness where you don't feel it anymore. But you can do it. In some monks, when they have the ability to meditate when they are sick, they almost go to a point where they don't feel the body anymore, and they let the body to heal. But by complaining about illness, it only increases. So I think in Netflix there is somebody sent me asked me to watch it. They sent me the password for Netflix and asked me to watch. The documentary is called Heal. It's all about healing, with your mental power. When you are in deep, strong mental power, the body knows how to heal. Only thing is you need to believe in it. If you don't believe that you are on the mend, it's not going to positively affect you. So healing power. And equanimity is also an awakening factor. Being in such equanimity means you are going to the 4th jhana or 3rd jhana, deeper absorption in your meditation, although some people don't like that translation. Ecstasy or something deep. It's a trance-like state where you go, you stay there, you come to the 3rd, 4th jhanas, such peaceful balance in your mind, and your body is slowly healing. Even if it does not heal, you are fine. It's just the body. Because it's a temporary shelter for you. You are not here permanently. Because where you are headed after this is important. Some people say, okay, I'll see like that patient, I'll see my sister in heaven. That's not something Buddhists believe. They don't want to see their dead people, They have done their part while they are living. They want them to attain Nibbana or to, go to heaven. You may want to meet them, but in a happier place. sometimes meeting them may mean that you are also being pulled into a lower place because of that bond you are keeping. If they are in a lower place, they may be, just don't process your thoughts that way. They may be calling you, that kind of thought. Just forget that I said that. They are not calling. Because your mental power is so powerful that they cannot affect you that way. When you have cultivated wholesome energy, loving kindness, they love you for that. They love you as a resource of goodness, resource of wholesome energy. And they would even bless you from there, because they see positivity and their spirit is transformed by the positive good things you do. That's why people are encouraged to do good things. Anyway, I've been talking so much. It's almost 8:30. Time to finish. Any any thoughts?
Just when I work with my clients, my patients, some of the things that I find easiest to share and that they're most helpful from what they tell me is just reminding them about where pain comes from.
Mm-hmm.
That it's in the mind, it's in wanting what you can't have, wanting to get rid of what you can't get rid of,
Mm-hmm.
and the belief that there's something I can get and can't get rid of.
Yeah.
That can make a profound shift in the way they are relating to their suffering.
That's a very wise thing to remind them of. The root of this pain. The mind. Mind is the forerunner. The Buddha said in Dhammapada, the verse 1, first one. So, when you guard the mind, you are guarding everything. Thoughts are important. You may be in a state where you cannot express, you are in a coma, but your mind is still working. It's invisible, but it is working. So when doctors don't discuss crucial things in front of such people, they try to go to the family room and discuss such things. There is a proxy, someone who is very reliable, who can make decisions about the patient. Not everyone has been given that opportunity, because there can be financial benefits by making a decision about somebody else's life. So it has to be when you are alive, you make that decision. Someone trustworthy can make that decision. But Buddhist monks never make any decision about anybody's life in terms of abortion or any euthanasia or pets, euthanasia, sympathetic death or any of that. We say that's something we are told not to do. But we do listen to them, we make sure they are in good, positive state. So, anyway, let's transfer merits. Can I get one of the chanting books? That one? We don't have the I think. Sorry.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. No. Thanks. Because maybe this one has it. Not every book has it. This doesn't. Sharing merit. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit that we have thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you for coming. Happy evening.